So today we are discussing about bacterial nutrition. It is the energy source required for the microorganism for its growth and multiplication. So let's move on to the next slide. Every organism must find in its environment all the substances required for energy generation and cellular biosynthesis. Almost all the organisms need food for their energy production and for their growth. Okay, so the chemicals and other elements required for their growth is known as nutrients or nutritional requirements. Many bacteria can be grown in culture medium, which the bacteria are grown in laboratory setup. We are providing nutrients through culture media. So we can call a bacteria as a mutualist or parasite because it depends completely on the energy source of host cell or the environment where they grow. Okay, so this energy is getting from different metabolic pathways, and the basic elementary level nutrition requirements which are revealed by the cell's elemental composition consist of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, iron, calcium, manganese, and traces of zinc, cobalt, copper, and molybdenum. Next, we are discussing about the microbial nutrition. So, in a simple way, we can tell nutrients as the substances in the environment used by organism for catabolism and anabolism. We know that catabolism means the conversion of the complex molecules into simpler ones, and anabolism is the conversion of simpler molecules into a complex one. So, the energy required for the catabolic and anabolic activities are obtained from the nutrients. So we can classify the nutrients into further classes. First come micronutrients. The nutrients which are required in larger amount are known as macronutrients. For example, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, etc. They act as the components of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acid in a cell. And potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron like ions also, they will act as the cations and part of enzymes and cofactors. Next comes micronutrients. The amounts of nutrients which you require in very small amount are known as micronutrients, and which includes mineral elements such as iron, copper, molybdenum, zinc, etc. Most of them are essential for the activity of certain enzymes and cofactors. Then some other ingredients are also there for the completion of the nutrient table, which are growth factors and trace elements. The factors which are required other than nutrients, the extra factors are known as growth factors, which include enzymes and vitamins. For example, amino acid, purine, pyrimidines, and all vitamins. In case of Staphylococcus aureus, the vitamins like thiamine and nicotinic acid, and the amino acids like thiamine and nicotinic acid, and in case of lactobacillus, the vitamins like vitamin B6 and vitamin B12 are essential for their growth. And last comes trace elements. Some bacteria also require other minerals in very small quantities, which are called as trace elements. They mainly act as cofactors for enzymatic action in bacteria. And this is a table which shows the all the essential ingredients, what we call as nutrients, and their source and their corresponding function in a cell. So for example, the element carbon, the bacteria are obtaining the carbon from all the organic compounds present in the environment and from the carbon dioxide itself. And the function of carbon in the bacterial cell is it acts as the main constituent of the cellular material. Next element is nitrogen. The bacteria is obtaining nitrogen from the sources like ammonia, nitrous oxide, and organic compounds, and from the nitrogen itself. The action or the function of nitrogen in a cell is it acts as a constituent of amino acid, nucleic acid, nucleotides, and other coenzymes. Likewise, all other elements have described here along with the source and their functions respectively. Next is a table which shows the nutritional classification of organism based on whether they are getting their energy chemically or from naturally. The major content of a bacterial cell is water. 80% of the cell contain water and other elements consists of 20%. Water acts as a vehicle for the entry of all the nutrients into the cell, and it also helps for the elimination of the waste products formed by the metabolic activities in a cell. From the cell, it is removed by the water. And based on the energy consumption, we can divide the bacteria into 4 classes: phototrophs, chemotrophs, autotrophs, and heterotrophs. Phototrophs means organism which will derive their energy by using light. Chemotrophs, they are chemically synthesizing their own energy. Autotrophs, they can synthesize their own food. They do not depend any other organism or any other sources for deriving energy. Heterotrophs, they completely depend upon other organisms to derive their energy production. Next comes some physical parameters which affects the microbial growth. Among them, we have to study 5 parameters: oxygen requirement, pH, temperature, salt concentration, and osmotic pressure. So first we are discussing about the oxygen requirement. Depending upon this parameter, bacteria are divided into 2 types. One is aerobes, another one is anaerobes. Aerobes means the organism which require oxygen compulsorily for their growth, and anaerobes which does not need oxygen for their growth. And further classification: obligate aerobes, obligate anaerobes, facultative anaerobes, aerotolerant anaerobes, microaerophiles. Obligate, the word means it's a must thing. Okay, so obligate anaerobes means they need oxygen very essentially for their growth. They obtain their energy through aerobic respiration only. And in case of obligate anaerobes, obligate means we know that it's a must thing, and here the bacteria is referred as anaerobe. So it doesn't need oxygen for their growth. Obligate. That means they cannot grow in the presence of oxygen. If oxygen is there, the bacteria will get died. So they obtain their energy through anaerobic respiration and fermentation. They do not need oxygen. Next comes facultative anaerobes. They grow with or without oxygen, but generally better with oxygen. So if oxygen is there, they can grow better, but they do not need oxygen compulsorily. Next one, aerotolerant anaerobes. They are basically anaerobes. They do not need oxygen for their growth, but they can tolerate oxygen. That means normally anaerobes will get died in the presence of oxygen, but in case of aerotolerant, they will not get died in the presence of oxygen. They grow in the presence of oxygen, but they do not need the oxygen for their growth. Microaerophiles. These are some kind of organism which require oxygen at very low concentration. Here are some images which shows the classification based on oxygen requirement, and along with their bacterial examples. First comes obligate anaerobes. Since they need oxygen for their growth at very high concentration, they grow at the surface level of the test tube. Next come obligate anaerobes. Since they are anaerobes, they do not need oxygen for their growth, so they grow at the very bottom of the test tube. Next is facultative anaerobes. They can live with or without oxygen, so they spread throughout the test tube. And if oxygen is there, they grow better. So the concentration of bacteria at the surface is a little bit high. Next is aerotolerant anaerobes. Since they are anaerobes, they do not need oxygen for their growth, so they spread throughout the test tube. They show throughout the test tube their growth. Microaerophiles, they need only low concentration of oxygen, so they cannot concentrate at the top level. Just behind the top level, they concentrate. Next comes temperature. According to the temperature requirement, the bacteria are divided into 4 groups: psychrophiles, mesophiles, thermophiles, and hyperthermophiles. Psychrophiles, they are cold loving bacteria. The optimum growth of temperature needed is -5 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. They are usually found in Arctic and Antarctic regions in streams fed by glaciers. And mesophiles, the bacteria that can grow best at moderate temperature. Most of the bacteria grow at moderate temperature, and majority of the bacteria are mesophiles in nature. And the temperature required for their growth is between 25 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. Thermophiles, they are heat-loving bacteria. The temperature required for their growth is 45 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius. Hyperthermophiles, these are bacteria which can grow at very high temperature. The temperature requirement is between 70 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. This is the graph showing the different growth pattern of mesophiles and thermophiles, extreme thermophiles, etc. along with the examples and their temperature dependency. Next comes pH. Microorganism we can place in the pH scale. We can classify them into different classes based on the pH. Like extreme acidophiles, neutrophiles, alkylophiles, extreme alkylophiles. Normally the pH of the bacteria, majority of the bacteria is neutral in nature. So most of the bacteria are neutrophiles. That is pH between 6 to 7. And the bacteria which can grow in acidic conditions are called acidophiles. And the bacteria which can grow in alkaline condition are called as alkylophiles. And the bacteria which can grow in extreme conditions of acidic and alkaline are called as extreme acidophiles and alkylophiles. So study them with examples. Next comes salt concentration. Non-halophiles, halotolerance, halophiles, extreme halophiles. 4 categories are coming under here. So when we consider non-halophiles, they are unable to grow at high salt concentration. And the bacteria which can tolerate a minimum level of salt concentration are called halotolerants, and halophiles which are salt loving. They can grow in high level of salt concentration. And about extreme halophiles, they can grow under extreme concentration of any salts. Next comes osmotic pressure. As we know, osmosis is the diffusion of water across a membrane from an area of higher water concentration to a lower water concentration. We know that if the water concentration in an area is very high, the solute in that area will be very low, and vice versa, the concentration of water is low in any area and the solute concentration will be very high in that area. So according to that the movement of water takes place. In case of isotonic solution, there will be no movement of water because in both area the concentration of solute and the concentration of the water is equal or balanced. So there is no movement of water and solutes. That is happening in isotonic condition. And in hypotonic condition, the concentration of the solute inside the cell is a little bit high. That means there the water concentration is very low. And outside the solute is less and water is high. So the water will move from outside to inside. In that case, when the water moves inside the cell at high rate, it swells and bursts. That happens in osmotic lysis. And what is happening in hypertonic solution or hyperosmotic solution? Here inside the cell the concentration is very low and outside the cell the concentration is very high. That means water is high inside the cell. So water will move from inside the cell to surrounding, and as a result the cell will shrink. That is happening to a cell according to their osmotic pressure. And according to that we can classify the bacteria like osmotolerants and halophiles. Osmotolerants are the bacteria which can tolerate high level of salt concentration, and halophiles also can tolerate salt concentration above 0.2 to 0.7. Thank you.